Did you ever think you were made it? This life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right.
I don't think I've ever said this before.
Okay, so it's episode 555 with the one and only Andrew Tate. We did it once. The first time I think was in Madrid. Second time was in Romania. Third time is in the States. He's in the flesh. He's here on the set. Andrew, it's great to have you on.
Bro, it's very good to see you.
Yes, it's good to see you.
It's been a while. What's it been, 2 years?
It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years since we did it last in Romania, which we came in right after your friendly meeting you had with BBC, which was fantastic. They treated you royally. You remember that whole setup?
I do remember, yeah. I'm not sure if anyone remembers that reporter, though. I think she's fallen into insignificance. It's kind of interesting how they sit me down and try and grill me when no one even cares who they are. So,
that's actually a very good question. Where is she? I don't even know what she does right now.
Well, she vanished. I guess the USAID money dried up, and
Yeah.
she's vanished now. I mean, these people sit down. I was offended by her for various reasons. The first one being when I was in jail, they were begging me for an interview, promising to tell my side of the story and highlight how people in Romania can be locked up without charges. And she said that she was going to ask these very interesting and pertinent questions about the Romanian judicial system. Turns out she hijacked me, turns up to my house with all these stupid hit piece questions instantly to get me when I got out of jail. I had nightmares, could barely sleep. I sit down with this interview and was completely sidelined. And that was her intention, to get a gotcha moment. And then she sits down and talks to me like she has authority in my home. I don't even know who this person is, and nobody knows who she is. And now I don't know where she's gone. So
yeah, I don't either. But folks, here's what I will tell you. We got a lot of things to talk about. If you have seen part one or part two, you know we don't do 1 hour podcasts. We're going to talk for quite some time. Here's what I would tell you. I don't know what's going to happen with YouTube. Share the video with everybody. Text it to as many people as you know to make sure everybody gets the message. Tate said, push me, challenge me. Nothing's on the table. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things. But make sure you get this message to as many people as possible. Whether you're watching this on X or YouTube, let's make sure we do that. Okay, so opening question. Everybody's doing their thing. Nobody's paying attention to what's going on. And then all of a sudden, Andrew and Tristan Tate are on a flight on their way to Florida. They haven't tweeted anything for 24 hours. You guys concern people when you stop tweeting things, right? And then all of a sudden, tweet X, whatever you want to call it, there was no message going out. I don't know if you can say Xing, right? They were tweeting. So then all of a sudden, the news is you land in Florida. Everybody sees the video. When that happens, the great governor of Florida, which is one of the reasons why we moved here, he does a great job running the state. He was asked about you. This is what he had to say. Rob, if you can play the clip.
Send back to Romania or whatever. We have no involvement in that. I read about it through the media. Clearly, the federal government has jurisdiction, whether they want to rebuff his entry into the United States, and I have confidence that whether it's Pam Bondi or Kristi Noem, that they will be looking at that. I do know our Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, is looking at what state hooks and jurisdiction we may have to be able to deal with this. But the reality is no, Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct in the air. And I don't know how it came to this. We were not involved. We were not notified. I found out through the media that this was something that was happening. Okay, guys.
So he says you're not welcome. Now, President Trump was asked. President Trump was asked the same question. This was his reaction, and I'm just going to turn it over to you after this.
The federal government has jurisdiction.
Can you turn off the other one, Rob? Just close it up. Yeah, there you go. Go for it.
Tate landed in Florida today on a private jet after being released from custody in Romania. They are accused rapists, human traffickers, not thought of as good people in many circles. Did your administration pressure the Romanian government to release them, and if so, why?
I know nothing about that. I don't know. You're saying he's on a plane right now?
He's back. They already did.
Yeah, I just know nothing about it. We'll check it out. We'll let you know.
Andrew and
So you got the governor says Florida is not a place where you belong or welcome to. President Trump says he doesn't know anything about it. How were you allowed to come to the States and leave Romania?
You know what's interesting? Trump is such a boss. Trump is such a boss. His answers, he is such a gangster. Don't know. I don't know anything about it. I don't know. That's the correct answer to most things. This is some life advice to everybody at home. 99% of the time, if you're asked a question as a man, the correct answer is, I don't know. So I like Trump's answer. As for Ron, I'm a little bit disappointed, I'll be honest. I've never said anything bad about him. I didn't know much about him. I was a fan of his. I heard that Florida was a great state. I know he did well under COVID. I knew nothing about the guy. But it turns out when he was pressured, he instantly caved to the pressure. And we have to have a long conversation about why the liberals and why Soros and why these wrap-up smears, why they use the media to do what they do. Because what they try and do is isolate somebody. So they're afraid to be, so people are afraid to represent them or stand by them or stick up for due process. I don't know why Ron's answer wasn't, he has an American passport. The judicial system in Romania, which I know absolutely nothing about, decided to let him fly. And he's flown to his home country. As far as we're concerned, he's broken no laws. Instead, what he did was say, we're going to get our attorney general to try and find some laws he's broken and wreck this man who's done nothing inside of the United States ever. Isn't the whole point of democracy innocent until proven guilty? I've yet to even have a trial, let alone a conviction. I've never even been tried. After 3 years, I've never been to trial. All those times I'm walking in and out of court, I've never had a trial. And communism, as we've understood it and tried very hard to fight against for so long, the basic premise is that you find the man and then find the crime. Is that not exactly what Ron DeSantis just promised to all of his constituents? It's not, we've seen a crime, let's find the perpetrator. It's, we found a man, let's see if we can find a crime to pin on this man. Is that the American way? Is that democracy? Is that innocent until proven guilty? Now, I'm not afraid of it because I know I've done nothing wrong. But it's quite unusual and quite scary for me to land as an American citizen, expecting a hero's welcome after dealing with a foreign and complicated judicial process, and being told that now the American state is going to be set on me, trying its very best to lock me up here when I've done nothing wrong ever. This is communism in and of itself. I may as well fly back to Romania. This is incredible that I landed and the governor of Florida is like, don't worry, I told my attorney general to try and find things this man's done. Where did that even come from? So I'm very, very disappointed in Ron. I think he did it because he caved under media pressure. And if he wants some media training, he can hit me up. There's no problem. If he wants training, Ron, there's a reason you lost the presidential election. There's a reason you got wrecked. If you want some training, come to me and I'll tell you. Your correct answer was, we have no information of crimes he's committed inside of the United States. He has an American passport. We were not aware of his arrival, but it's not really our concern. He's an American citizen returning to his home country. If he breaks the law within Florida, he will be held accountable as well as any other person would be. And until that point, that's it. But instead, he just completely caved and folded. You know what's really interesting? The liberals, Soros, all these NGOs, the media, they understand something intrinsically that conservatives do not understand. In the conservative world, an accusation is the same as a conviction, which is why liberals are so effective. The liberals will accuse a conservative of something. They'll wrap-up smear them. Hello, Ron. Nancy Pelosi explained the wrap-up smear. She explained it herself. You can find the clip of her explaining. You get the media to repeat something so many times that that person's name becomes toxic. And then what that person says isn't significant anymore because of the accusations attributed to their name. Nancy Pelosi described how they do this to people.
Is this a clip?
Let's play it.
Go for it, Brown.
Hospitals and the rest of it. So they don't want them to see that contrast, so they focus on something else. And it's a diversionary tactic. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear
She's talking
somebody
about it openly
with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic, and it's self-evident. But
Earth to Ron! Earth to Ron! Like, this is what they do. They demonize you in the media to the point where nobody will stand by you and your ideas are ignored because of what you're accused of. This is exactly what they did to me. Ron fell for it. Instead of standing there and saying, we have no evidence of crimes, he has an American passport, it's innocent until proven guilty, I don't understand the Romanian system, what he did was collapse instantly and completely. And liberals know this. If you accuse a conservative of something on the other side, the conservatives cannibalize. An accusation is as bad as a conviction in the conservative circles. If you accuse a liberal of something, do you think the liberals care? Let me change it. if a liberal is convicted, if a liberal held a gun to a pregnant woman, if a liberal is a career criminal, they don't care. But our side, if you're accused of something, you're instantly cannibalized. Talk about the weakness in the conservative circle. We wonder why we've been getting our asses kicked by people who don't know what gender they are for years. Because all they have to do is point and lie. Put it in the news enough times, and they will take out our strongest soldiers. I was one of the strongest soldiers advocating for conservatism and helping men, especially young men, find their masculinity once again. So they just attacked me, and now who's against me? Liberals, yeah, and a whole bunch of conservatives are upset with me. Oh, but the media said. The media said, have you not been through COVID? Do you not remember what the media said about Trump? Hello, Nancy Pelosi just told you what they do, Ron. And he sat there and completely collapsed. I'm not offended, personally, and I'm not afraid of his AG, because I've done nothing wrong. And if you want to put me in jail in America, I'm not afraid of that either, because I've just accepted my fate. I'm public enemy number one. However, I actually truly see this. And Ron, this is not an insult. That was a competency test you failed. You failed a competency test as a leader. Trump didn't. They asked Trump questions, and he answered like a gangster. He answered like a man should answer. I don't know. Because he doesn't know. He doesn't know the details of the Romanian system. He's not read my bullshit indictment. He's never spoken to me. He doesn't know. That's a correct professional answer.
You guys have never spoken.
I've never spoken to Donald Trump.
So how were you able to come to the States? I heard stories. One of them was, sorry for your loss of your grandmother. Yep. I heard the news. And, where one part of the story is that they allowed you to come here for the loss of your family, that you're here. Another one is you're visiting because now you can. But which one is it? What's the reason why you're in the States?
I'll tell you why.
Please.
I'll tell you why, but I'm going to finish that point. When you do not know something, the most masculine thing you can say is, I don't know. Trump's like, I don't know. I don't know the details. I don't know. I'll look into it. Instead, Ron knew nothing and collapsed. So Ron failed a basic competency test. That's what I believe. I don't care what he said. I'm not scared of his AG. He failed a competency test. That's his problem and his burden. So that's my view on Ron.
But one thing I want to qualify this. You just made a commitment to helping him out with marketing if he says yes.
If he pays me.
You're open to it.
Look,
consulting.
Look, I like money. If he'll pay me, I'll teach him how to deal with the media, because clearly he failed.
But all I'm saying is, if you commit to it, they may get a call for 2028. Just be ready for that. But
absolutely.
Yeah, so
if he can afford me, I'm very famous and I'm very important. So if he can afford me, if Ron can afford me, I'll help him out. And I'll let him know the reason he failed. Because especially, and this is extremely important, and I don't think people actually understand how much subconscious judging that they go through all of the time. When you walk into a room, you're subconsciously judged all of the time.
Right.
And small little failures like that, even the people who hate me, even the people who dislike me and are happy he said something negative against me, if you're going to collapse in the face of the ABC or NBC and people who do nothing but lie and start splouting garbage which you know nothing about, how are you going to stand in front of Putin? How are you going to stand in front of Xi? Like, you failed a competency test. I don't believe he's fit to run a country anymore. Thank God he's not president. That's what I think after I saw that. I'm not scared of what he said. I just literally think he failed a competency test. Now let's talk about why I was allowed back in America. Well, the first thing is I have a passport. So that's the first reason. Secondly, it's kind of amazing that I'm seen as the number one fugitive. I have no criminal record anywhere on the planet. I have no criminal record in the UK. I have no criminal record in Romania. I've never been convicted. I've never been convicted of anything in America. I have no criminal record ever. If you go down to the mall in Miami and walk around, you're going to walk past 30% of people with convictions. You're going to walk around amongst criminals. I've never been convicted of anything ever. So it's amazing that I'm fugitive number one. That's the second point that's interesting. The third point, and this is what's kind of funny when they tie Trump into me being free. My case was dismissed in December under President Joe Biden. The judge ruled that there wasn't enough evidence for it to go to trial in December under Joe Biden. Then the standard operating procedure in Romania and every other sophisticated judicial system is there's no indictment in the court. It was rejected by the court to go to trial due to lack of evidence, or in fact, in our case, it wasn't even lack of evidence. It was falsified evidence. It was illegal evidence, which we can talk about. It was rejected, but for some reason our bail conditions were kept. And they were kept saying the prosecutor believes he might rewrite it and try again. Is this a judicial system? 2 years you keep me trapped in a country, you send an indictment to court, the court rejects it, and they keep you on bail so the prosecutor can spend another 2 years typing up garbage? Is this a judicial system? I ask all the Americans who are watching this, how much blood do you expect me to give to a foreign country's judicial system? I gave them 3 years of my life, my reputation, missed my grandmother's funeral, didn't see 2 of my children, lost my money, lost my house, lost my cars, sat there, went to court on time, every single time, and it got rejected by the court. And now I'm kept on bail, and eventually they release it and let me fly. Am I supposed to do what? How long am I supposed to sit there while this country decides to try and find charges on me? Have I not done enough? Have I not given enough to Romania? My bail conditions are that I have to return on the 23rd of March. And I'm going to make it very clear right now to everybody listening. I am going back. I'm going to fly back and obey my bail conditions. I'm not running from anything because I'm not a coward. But I find it completely flabbergasting that people are sitting there going, oh, Andrew, why did he leave Romania if he's innocent? I've been there 3 years dealing with this garbage and I never went anywhere. Let's actually analyze this. Imagine in an American court, they said to you, yeah, you're innocent. Yeah, there's not enough for trial, but you're still on bail. You still can't fly. You still can't go anywhere. We've sent it back to the prosecutor and told them to try again. How long will that take? As long as they want. Is that justice? I ask anybody, is that justice? Is that expected of me? It's absolutely insane. And all the people who are complaining about the fact I'm here have never been to Romania, don't know the Romanian system, don't know the Romanian judicial process. I've been through it for 3 years. I barely understand it. These people are sitting around talking about things when they don't even understand. They don't have a clue what they're talking about. Another question, which is quite pertinent, I want to ask. I've seen a lot of idiots say, Andrew escaped Romania because it was corrupt. If it's corrupt when I get to leave, isn't it corrupt when they lock me up? Or no, it's not corrupt and they stick to the rules when they lock me up and destroy my life. But after 3 years without charges, when I'm allowed to leave, it's corruption. Think about the dichotomy of that. It's either one or the other. So people are just picking and choosing and doing anything they can because they don't like me. This has nothing to do with due process. These people don't respect due process. They don't care if I'm innocent or not. They just don't like me. Patrick, I have a feeling if I was fat and ugly, none of this would be happening in terms of the hate that I'm getting from the conservative type. But you know when you're like tall, brown, sexy, and rich? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nice Patek. Yeah. Mine's got diamonds. When you're tall, brown, sexy, and rich, they just don't like you. Any conservative should be sitting here going, I don't agree with Tate, but due process, and he's not been charged. He's not guilty, so he's flying. It's normal. But they hate me so intrinsically. They hate me on a visceral level where they're saying, forget due process, forget the legality, forget the fact that the Romanian judicial system shouldn't be trusted, forget the fact he's given him 3 years of his life, forget all that. He's bad. Crazy.
By the way, when you say dismissed, Rob just pulled this up. As of March 3rd, the charges against Andrew Tate have not been dismissed. In December 2024, a Romanian court identified procedural errors in the case leading to a dismissal. However, investigations into allegations of human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized crime group are ongoing.
Correct.
Is it still that? Is
correct.
that still
no, correct?
going?
So let me clarify. Correct. Absolutely. December 2024, my case was dismissed. The Romanian court identified procedural errors in the case leading to a dismissal. That sounds like, procedural errors, no big deal. What if procedural errors are false translations? What if procedural errors are illegal wiretaps? What if procedural errors are not respecting my client attorney privilege? What if they spied on me when I was talking to my lawyer? What if they broke every single law in the Romanian constitution, which is what they did? Then they returned it to the prosecutor and said, do it all again. So here it says, it's still ongoing. Yeah, it was dismissed because the whole case is garbage, just as I described. They sent it back to the prosecutor and said, we'll keep him locked up. We'll keep him here. Here's 2 more years. Try again. Is that justice? I'm asking a genuine question. Maybe I'm jaded. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm living in the middle of it. As professional men, do you see that as justice? I beat my case. They lied and cheated the whole way through. They sent it back. And then they get to say, it's still ongoing because the case is open because we're going to do it again. Is that allowed?
So Romania is expecting you to be back by March 23rd.
Correct.
That's because of this.
No.
And did they allow you to leave purely for, what's the reason why they allow you to come to the States?
They allowed me to come to the States because in December, my case was dismissed. In 99.9% of Romanian cases, that means the end of bail conditions.
Okay.
With me, they kept the bail conditions. They kept them for December. They kept them for January. They tried to keep them for February. And my lawyers made submissions to court, and we went in front of a judge, and we complained that this is unfair. And a judge said, okay, let him fly as long as he comes back once a month. And I said, I will respect the Romanian judicial system because I'm not running from anything, and I'm going to go back. Guys, anyone who's concerned about me understand me. We got a direct order from the commander-in-chief. It was 3 words long. And it was fight, fight, fight. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going back to Romania. They may arrest me. Maybe put me back in jail. I don't know what they're going to do. But I'm going to go back. I'm not running from any of this. I've never run from any of this. My bail conditions were lifted. I've been in Romania for a very long time. I felt like a holiday. I thought Ron was a good governor. I chose Florida. Turns out it's communist like the rest. But I'm here for a while. It's not. There's no huge conspiracy. There's no Trump pressure. There's none of these things. 3 years I gave the Romanian government. 3 years. And eventually they said, okay, you can go to your home country. They should have let me come here a long time ago. I should have been able to come here the whole time. The whole process, I should have been able to come here. I've never been convicted. Why wasn't I free to travel the whole last 3 years? That's the actual question Ron should be asking. Ron should stand up there, or anyone with a brain should stand up and say, okay, well, he's never been convicted, and the case keeps getting thrown out due to lack of evidence or falsified evidence and illegal evidence. Why couldn't he travel all this time? Why was he even stuck in Romania? Why did they even take my cars? Let's be professionals and ask pertinent questions here. Why did they steal my money? Why did they put me in jail? Why did they take all my cars? Why did they take my house? Why did they stop me seeing 2 of my children? Why couldn't I see my mother when she had a heart attack? Why couldn't I go to my grandmother's funeral? Why was my image slandered? Why was I locked in my house for a year and a half and I couldn't even leave the living room? Why was I there if there was not even enough evidence to ever go to trial ever? Isn't that a better question than why am I in America? To me, it seems to be. See, that's the question I would ask. Why have I even gone through any of this? We can go deep down the rabbit hole, but I have to be careful what I say because on the 23rd, I have to report to the Romanians. But I'll tell you this, Soros and the European Union, which has become communist, have massive influence over there. And you have a huge power struggle between the American state and the Soros state. And there's 2 teams, and one of the teams wants me in jail for life. That's why I was dealing with all this.
So, but was there any help from Trump's camp to help you get here? Was there any influence there?
I have no idea.
Okay, so you don't know. Okay.
I mean, I would like to think from a positive perspective, I'd like to be optimistic and believe that Donald Trump saw this garbage and maybe asked some questions. I like that idea, but I don't know. I had no confirmation.
Right.
I have no idea. I don't know why. However, as a professional, which I am, I would argue if Kamala won, I'd be in jail. Mm-hmm. But so would Trump. And so would everyone else.
No
so would you.
There's no question.
So would you, and so would you.
Yeah.
So Trump won, and perhaps the Romanians said, oh, the boss is back. We can't do this anymore. That's possible. Did Trump fly to Romania with an AK? I doubt it. But things change. There's a new administration. All the Americans are being released. Why is no one complaining about the Americans that got released from Venezuela? No one's complaining about the Americans that got released from Russia. Americans are being released all around the world because we finally have a real president again. And I seem to be one of them. The Romanian states thought and said, the boss is back. We probably can't continue to fuck with this guy for no reason. We don't even have a case. As it stands right now, guess how many indictments are in court against me? 0. Not one. Not one.
Well, let me ask this one here with this situation here, that you're in the States. Can UK, because UK and US have an extradition, they have a law that I think came about, Rob, if you can pull it up, I think it's 03 or 07 or something like that. Can UK say now he's in the States, can UK and US's relationship with each other do anything to you? Is that a risk of yours? Is that a concern of yours or not at all?
I'm tall, brown, rich, and sexy. So I have a strong suspicion that's one of the reasons the UK hates me so much. Because the UK is now a fallen nation. It's a completely communist country. You can't speak out. Isn't it interesting that not too long ago, America would talk about going to war and killing people for the idea of democracy and freedom. And now our allies, like the United Kingdom, will lock people up for tweets. Or even worse, Trump and Vance will put Zelensky in his place, which needed to be done. And then our allies will invite him over the next day and hug him and shake hands and promise him money.
How do you feel about that?
What I feel like is that they're not even our allies anymore. That's snakery. You insult, if my brother puts you in your place and I come up behind his back and offer you money, am I my brother's brother? Is that how it works?
No. Nope.
So now we're talking about the UK government. We can go long and deep into the state of the United Kingdom because every single person I know with money is leaving. Why does the UK want to lock me up? Because I'm seen as a symbol of resistance against their communism. That's why they hate me. They hate me because I teach young men to think for themselves. That's why they hate me. Because the UK's fallen due to a lack of masculinity, which is what I promote. That's why they hate me. Are they going to try and get me? Probably. If I go to UK, will I ever get out? Probably not. Am I afraid of them? No. Because I don't operate from a realm of fear. We had a 3-word instruction from the commander-in-chief. So if I have to go to the UK and fight them, I'm going to do that too. Until then, I'm on the PBD podcast. I don't know what they're going to try and do. All I know is I don't trust them. And I don't think any American who understands how the world's currently operating trusts the UK government with anything. Do you? Would you trust yourself to have a fair trial in a British court?
In UK?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Exactly. So
Zero.
it's a setup.
No.
It's an absolute
Not in
setup.
UK.
Why did the UK even come for me? Once again, I have to be careful what I say because on the 23rd of March, I'm going to be walking into the jaws of a tiger. But I can tell you this. The UK Foreign Office was heavily involved in my entire persecution in Romania. From the first day. They didn't get involved later. From beginning, before it even happened, the UK Foreign Office was saying, this man is a problem. We're talking about him in Parliament. He's a big problem in our schools. He's a big problem on the internet. He's a problem. Can't you take him off the internet? Can't you make him go away? That was the UK Foreign Office. When I got released from Romanian jail, then I got released from house arrest, all of a sudden, Britain trumps up charges from 2009. Supposedly in 2009, I attacked some girl. And I was arrested again for 24 hours. I don't know if you guys remember. And I sat there for 24 hours. I was like, okay, wait. Who? When? Can't tell you that. So you're saying in 2009, I attacked a girl? Yes. Who? Doesn't say. When? Doesn't say. Where? Doesn't say. Just says 2009, you attacked a girl. By coincidence, Tristan also, 2009, attacked a girl. Where? When? Who? Don't know. 2009, you both attacked girls. No details. We made it up. Extradite. Thank God the Romanian state said, no, this is not even evidence. We can't extradite with this. It's nothing that doesn't mean anything. So the UK state trying to get us when Romania started to fail. UK's lost its mind. UK will look at the violence against women and then start saying my name. Oh, this is because of misogyny. Andrew Tate did this. No, what did this is a lack of a border, unchecked migration, thousands of people coming over from the third world each day on dinghies who have no jobs and loiter around in the streets. That's why women are not safe in London anymore. Nothing to do with me. They know it's nothing to do with me. I'm their fall guy. I'm their fall guy for everything. As soon as anything goes wrong, they mention my name in the UK. I don't stand a chance in their courts. But am I afraid of them? No, because I don't operate from a realm of fear. I need people at home. You know what? This whole circumstance has truly damaged my faith in humanity. COVID did the same. Before COVID, I really thought people were better than that. But when I log onto Twitter and someone's like, Andrew Tate's accused of, I can accuse a ham fucking sandwich. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything what you're accused of. It matters what you're found guilty of. And then you have to argue about the legitimacy of the court. Because there's people in America who are getting wrecked by courts. That's America. Imagine, please, is there any better sign of my innocence than the fact I won fair and square in a Romanian court under the Biden admin? Is that not the best possible badge I can wear? When Biden was president in a Romanian court, I beat my case. And they'll still sit there and go, oh, but he's guilty. Did I say some stupid things on the internet 12 years ago? Yes. But I also said I'm an astronaut. And guess what? Elon's not calling. So it doesn't matter. It's not, you need a victim. You need proof. You can't say he said one stupid thing on the internet 12 years ago. Anyone who believes that's a criminal case is a dumbass. So here we are. You talk about Great Britain, they're after me. Romania's still after me. Ron DeSantis is after me. Aliens are probably after me. I don't know what to do. I'm just a man. But, you know, we're tall, brown, rich, and sexy. We're doing our best.
How did it feel when you landed? You haven't been here for 6 years. What was that feeling like when you guys landed in the state? You were born here in D.C. What did that feel like?
You know, it's amazing because we were supposed to have Wi-Fi on our jet. No one knew we were leaving. We get in the air, the Wi-Fi doesn't work, of course. So we had no idea about the fanfare. So we landed, and Tristan's phone starts working. And then he says, wow, it seems people are very interested. It seems like this is a big story. I didn't expect it to be this big. I said, yeah, it is a big story. I'm kind of surprised as well. I didn't think anybody would even really care that much. And Tristan said to me, he goes, better this than nobody caring at all. And this is a very interesting point that my haters don't understand. Because I get so many of these conservative dorks, and they are dorks, these nerds. Andrew Tate's a bad guy, blah, 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 blah. Crying about me all of the time. It takes hot and cold air to make a tornado. And there's nothing more feminine than sitting there as a conservative influencer. I'm a conservative influencer, and he's so dangerous, and he's so bad, he's so scary. You sound like a girl. You sound like a girl, it's gay. It's gay. They make me sound like a mafia boss all the time. Which is why young men go, well, do I want to be like the big boss who everyone talks about? Or do I want to be like this dude who talks about being afraid on his Twitter? My haters can't stop mentioning me. I didn't tweet for all that time because I didn't need to. The whole Twitter was me. I don't need to tweet. I just need to breathe and they talk about me. So they give me so much unlimited energy. If my haters had a brain, they'd stop talking about me, but they can't. They can't. So when I land and all these haters and senators and Ron and everyone's having a mental breakdown, I kind of just sit in the middle of it like, well, I mean, I guess I'm the main character, I guess. I mean, what am I supposed to do with it all? But you're asking how I feel. It's kind of interesting because it was such a whirlwind and it's still such a whirlwind now. And I know I have to go back in a few weeks. No feelings have really come to light as of yet. I don't feel any. No, I don't feel relieved.
Reminisce, family, memories. You and Tristan by yourself. Hey, man, this is kind of cool. 6 years, nothing.
There is an element of that, but how do I say this without sounding psychotic? Let me try and not to sound crazy because my haters have enough ammo. Let me try not to sound psychotic. Part of me will be disappointed if I don't go to Romanian jail. And I know this sounds nuts. Maybe this is a coping mechanism. I don't know. We can all talk psychology. When you're a man and every single government in the world is after you, maybe you cope by thinking, well, if they do win, I'll get a cool story. Maybe that's coping. I'm being honest now. We can talk to Dr. Phil. Call Dr. Phil. I don't know. But I was so certain that we were cooked. I was like, no one beats these people. You can't beat this. This is a fucking setup. And they're going to rig the next election like they rigged 2020, and they're going to set us up, and we're done. We're toast. I was so certain I was cooked. I kind of, in my mind, was like, oh, I'm cooked. And now I'm not cooked. I'm like, well, I don't deserve to be cooked, which is good. But it's a very strange feeling. I just hadn't prepared for it. I don't know what else to say. It's really weird. It's really weird. But I was disappointed by my welcome. I'm not going to lie. But I'm going to train Ron. We're going to be okay.
Tate, we've interviewed you a few times, but you sound angrier than ever. Is that your resounding emotion right now?
You know, I said this on the plane to Tristan, and I said that him and I, truthfully, if I think and if I analyze, one of the reasons why our haters hate us so much, and it must be very frustrating to dislike us, because in the end, we always just seem to win. It must be very frustrating to hate us, and then no matter what happens, no matter how many times they think we've got this guy banged to rights, look, 4 criminal cases in Romania, 2 criminal cases in England. He can't fly. He's done. Here's an old video he's explained 1,000 times. Let's retweet that. Look, we've got him. He's toast. No one will talk to him. The governor hates him. And then I'm on a jet. Boom, bang, ha, PBD, woo. They must hate me. I get it, right? And then you can talk about, you know, if this is the universe, if this is your own hard work, if you're divinely protected, if it's fate, all of these things. But for some reason, I seem to be very competent and very lucky. And when you're both of those things, vengeance crosses your mind quite often because you know that it's easy to be vengeful because you know if you talk, you could easily get retribution against the people who have wronged you. But I don't want to be a vengeful person. And I don't want to go out on a path of vengeance. However, I do think that justice and balance are important in the universe. I do think that the moral arc of the universe should bend towards justice. I do think the people who have lied, I do think the people who have done wrong things, I do think the people who have decided to destroy my life should face justice. I don't think that's vengeance. I think that's balance. So for that reason, you say it's anger. I would call it potential energy, which is stored, which will be directed towards justice. I'm not looking for vengeance. I'm not looking for revenge. All I want is the world to be fair. Don't we all want the world to be fair? I expect a fair trial, and I expect my enemies to have a fair trial. Unlike my enemies who are praying I do not have a fair trial, I don't want that. I want my enemies to have a fair trial just as I will, because I know I will walk and they will not.
Tate, let me ask you this. By the way, if you're watching this, again, we got 80,000 people in the room right now live watching. Share it with as many people as possible. We're going to be going. We got a lot more topics to be talking about. We don't know if we'll stay on. Share it with folks. Question for you. If I wanted to find out what my audience looks like, and I were to bring it down to 100 people, and I said, okay, let me take all the followers, and let's just say they're in a room together. What do they look like? I'm like, okay, 62% business owners. Cool. 3.8% Middle Eastern. Great. Politics, family, kids, finance. Got it. If I was to go in the room and bring it down to 100 people out of your tens of millions of followers that you have, what do you think your followers look like?
It's a good question. A lot of people would expect it to be explicitly only male, but it's certainly not. I get a lot of support from females as well. So I would say it's 90% male, 16 to 30, usually younger guys, but all the older guys know who I am as well. It's pretty well spread across the world. It's pretty international. I get letters and support from Mongolia and Thailand and Singapore and Australia and absolutely everywhere, not just the Western world. And then there's a huge contingent also of females who support me. Traditionally, Republican females, or I've had a lot of letters, and when I say a lot, I mean hundreds of letters from women in Tennessee or Kentucky or Alabama who are raising their sons without a father, and they say that I help them teach their boys how to be men. I have a lot of support in the Arab world as well, a lot of support from the Middle East. So what's really interesting, I've never actually encountered any kind of negative interactions in person ever besides media. Most people seem to like me. In real life, I've never had anybody say anything negative to me in real life ever. Ever once, ever. Male or female, ever. Lots of women come up and ask for photos. Lots of the beautiful Instagram girls, all the guys are DMing or chasing me. So it's quite a diverse audience that I have. But primarily because I think I make young men feel motivated. Those are the ones who are most engaged with my content. 16 to 30-year-old males all around the world.
So do you think obviously, I don't think any of them would be liberals. Is that fair to say? A very small percentage would be liberals.
Correct.
Okay. And a big percentage of them would be conservatives, libertarians, driven, moneymakers, competitive business owners, sales. Some of them would be that, right? Yep. Okay. So this is the part with what some people say about you. DeSantis we already covered, so we can skip DeSantis because you were very direct with DeSantis.
My friend Ron.
Right, that's right. Your friend Ron, you're going to be his CMO to help him with his campaign for 2020, which was
if he can afford
very kind of you. Dave Portnoy. Here's Dave Portnoy. Who is a Trump supporter. He's had Trump on. He actually did a good interview with him.
Interesting.
He's got a right-leaning audience.
Yep.
He says, what's the point of booting out illegals and criminals while somehow becoming a safe haven for the Tate brothers? That's one.
Safe
Two,
haven.
Ben Shapiro, okay? You know who he is. You and Ben, good friends. You guys, I'm sure you have had dinner already since you've been here. Because
let's do one by one.
Okay, so let's do Dave. So
let's do Dave.
Go with Dave. What do you say to Dave? Dave's a guy that's done well for himself. What do you say to him?
I've spoken to him once on a podcast. And I said women couldn't drive. And the face of horror he pulled. I don't know if he was because he was afraid of his audience. And he was like, look, I love women drivers.
Is this the one about the IQ stuff that you guys talked about?
We did a podcast once. I said women couldn't
Yeah.
drive. And he pulled this fake face of horror because I guess he's afraid of being canceled.
Right.
It was on a Zoom. There was a girl on it, another guy.
It says everything you need to know about Dave. I don't know much about Dave. I don't know. I see videos of him jumping up and down about sports teams. And he's 47 with no children and smokes weed. That's what I know. He dislikes me. A lot of these conservatives who dislike me for the key reason that I am the hero they want to be. They know I'm the hero of the masculine youth, and they want to be the hero of the masculine youth. Like, why doesn't all the young boys look up to me? All the young men look up to Andrew. They should look up to me. I'm a conservative. I'm a tough guy. No, you're not. I don't know enough about Dave to truly say why he has the point of view he has. I would put it down to jealousy because I'm big, tall, brown, sexy.
I think that's what it is.
Patek.
Yeah, with
It's a
diamonds.
Patek
Don't
thing.
forget the diamonds.
It's a Patek thing, but I've got diamonds on mine.
Listen, I think Dave can afford the Patek. I just wonder what, for him saying something like that. Let's go to Shapiro. Shapiro says,
But before we move on from Dave, but this is the thing that's so important. If I was my enemy, I wouldn't talk about me. But my enemies are so obsessed with giving me unlimited energy. I don't tweet about Dave. I don't care about him getting excited over a sports team and masturbating when he's high on weed. I don't give a shit that he has no children. He's sitting around alone. I don't care about Dave. But he seems to care about me. I truly have a worldview, and this is an actual genuine belief of mine. And it can't be explained by science, but I guarantee you it's true. If there's enough human beings out in the world consuming calories, they're doing whatever they have to do. They're going to work, and they're trying hard to find money, to buy food, to eat calories, to stay alive. And they're converting those calories into my name, either by typing it or thinking about me, negative or positive. That is orgons, a word I've just made up. Orgons.
I'm like Googling it right now.
Into the universe, out into the world, which I absorb. Why am I so lucky? Why are my arms so big? How come I have so much money? Because there's all these millions of people around the world who cannot stop putting Andrew Tate orgons into the atmosphere. So Dave has just paid me. Thank you, Dave. But after this little splurt, I promise you, the chance of me ever considering him as a human being ever again is fucking zero.
Really?
I don't give a fuck about Dave Portnoy. I couldn't care less.
Wow. Okay. What's this one here, by the way, Rob?
That's Dave
Say
Portnoy. This is
okay.
Ben Shapiro.
Let's go to Shapiro. So,
little
here's
Ben.
Shapiro. Let's
One
see what you're
second.
gonna say about
One
Shapiro.
second. I'm Ben. Let me lower my chair. Let me lower my chair down.
Listen, I suggested the other day that you and Ben do a podcast together.
Listen, let me tell you about Ben Shapiro.
I'm
I'm not even going to read Ben's crap. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear Ben's crap. Let me tell you about Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro, the only OnlyFans donates to AIPAC, which pays Ben. So when he complains about anything to do with me helping girls optimize webcam profiles 12 years ago is absolutely hypocritical. He's taking money from OnlyFans today. He's taking money from OnlyFans as it stands.
Ben does OnlyFans videos?
Ben, I'm sure for enough money he would. I'm sure for enough money he would. Midget
I
porn.
did not know that.
Midget porn. OnlyFans are paying AIPAC, which are paying him as it stands.
that's what you're
so
saying.
So anything about his pornography crap can go out the window. Anything about him complaining about my criminal charges, once again, due process out the window. I like to think, after what they just did to Trump. By the way, remember, Trump is convicted, and he's president, and nobody believes it. I'm not even convicted. And Trump was convicted in an American court, New York. Okay, you can barely call it American, but it's better than Romania. And I'm not even convicted. So he's our president we all respect and look up to. But me with a lower barrier, who's been lower down the chain, they're going to pretend they're offended by for some reason. So what Ben does is say, Andrew's a criminal, and Andrew did pornography, even though he takes money from porn, and I'm not convicted. And he only does this because he's extremely small, and I'm extremely big, which is that's why he's upset. He's small and upset, and he's just going to have to sit over there and be small and upset.
All right, let's see what you're going to say about this next one, because this
Who we
next
got?
one,
Who we got?
she's got a lot of credibility. Megyn Kelly. I don't know if you saw what she said. And
No.
Megyn is a G. Megyn's very good at what she does.
Didn't know what she said.
Yeah, she came out and she, the Tampa Bay young Republican said something about welcoming you and Tristan as a free speech absolutist. The Tates haven't been formally convicted of any crime, and we are welcome to speak to our group. He is welcome to speak. We are old enough to remember when a convicted felon won the presidency.
Absolutely.
#free state.
Absolutely.
She responds, "You've lost your ways, boys."
Well,
Okay?
Megyn, I've never spoken to you in my life. I actually saw a few clips of yours. I thought that you were pretty good. I was a fan. You still can't drive, but it's fine. I mean, like, people are allowed. People are allowed.
Maybe driving classes. Like,
People are allowed.
if it's one is marketing, the other one.
Oh, man.
You can't drive, Megyn, but you can have an opinion. It's a free country. You can have your opinion on me, and you can be offended by me for some reason. You can give me your orgons, Megyn. You can sit and you can eat your food and you can talk around the table about how Andrew Tate's a bad guy, and then one person out of the group will argue with you. Before you know it, there's all these long, hour-long conversations about Andrew Tate that I don't even know take place. I just seem to keep getting all these orgons from somewhere. Megyn Kelly's allowed an opinion on me. It's a free country. And I'm allowed an opinion on her. My opinion on me is positive. But she can say whatever she wants. I'm not offended by it. I don't take it personally. I'm sure she may have seen some clips which are out of context, which we've discussed before and we'll discuss again. And they're never going to let drop, but we can talk about that. That's fine.
Would you speak with her?
Oh, yeah. She doesn't know me.
No. Meaning, let's just say Megyn invites you. Would you speak with her? Would you do a show with her?
I would love it. And she'd sit me down and she'd try a BBC-style hit piece, and she'd be very disappointed by how badly she gets wrecked. But I would happily wreck her, yeah. I'd happily destroy Megyn, sure. And I'd teach her to drive afterwards. And then we could be friends.
Listen, what a big heart you have.
I'm a nice man.
The idea of like,
Megyn, I'm nice. Where's all this negative? I'm a nice guy.
Okay, do you know where I'm going with this? This is kind of where I'm going with this. The reason why I'm going with this is the following. Is I'm really trying to find out. Josh Hawley, respected guy. Okay, this guy's a respected guy. I don't think conservatives should be glorifying this guy at all. I certainly don't think that we should be using any influence in our government to try to get him out of what seem to be extremely serious charges in Romania. So I would hope that we weren't involved in any way. This is Josh
who's
Hawley.
this?
Josh Hawley.
Senator.
Sorry, wait. Who?
Rob, can you pull up his picture so he knows who Josh Hawley? Big YouTuber.
Who?
Pull him up. Josh Hawley.
Who?
This guy right here.
Oh, soy face.
By the way,
Fuck him.
Tate,
Fuck him.
He is
Soy
respected.
face?
He is
Not
respected.
by me.
He carries weight.
Not by me.
Okay. So
Next.
in a serious conversation, why do you think some of these guys, Megan's a family person, Josh, family person, Dave, fair. You want to say what you want to say about Dave, single, doesn't have kids yet, all that other stuff.
I forgot, isn't it Dave who?
Dave Portnoy, right?
Sorry, I forgot.
You got Ben Shapiro, family guy. On the conservative
Ben
side.
Shapiro's not a family guy. Ben Shapiro's a midget warmonger who, if he got sent to war himself, would piss his little pants, sitting down and spending the last 10 years advocating for big, strong men to go die in ditches while he sits at home collecting money. Ben is a warmongering piece of shit. He's not a family guy. Ben's actually a bad person. And I'm saying that genuinely. I don't usually have personal beefs with people. Ben is a bad person.
Tell me why.
Look at his. You don't need to know much about him. Look at his history during COVID. Look how he pushed for everyone who didn't take the vaccine to not be able to fly and leave their house. Look at all his warmongering. Every single war, he's desperate for people to go to war permanently all of the time. And then he sits there hypocritically and say, "Oh yeah, Andrew Tate's accused and porn," while taking money from OnlyFans himself. He's just a bad person. Ben's just a bad person. That's the truth about Ben.
Okay, so that's your opinion. Stick to the family.
That's
guy.
a fact, sir.
Okay,
that's a fact, sir. So that's a Diamond Patek fact.
Stick with conservative families. Okay,
sure.
Why do you think they have a challenge? What do you think it is? Purely with the values and principles, because you talk about justice earlier. Justice is important to you, right? And I've watched you. I'm a family guy.
Yep.
I got I got a wife. I got 4 kids.
Yep.
I got 2 boys, 2
Only
girls.
4.
And listen, if I had it my way, I'd go to 20. Look, I'm sure you like seeing Elon having his 14th. I'm sure that for you is kind of
understand each other. Let's put it at that. Let's leave it that way.
Yeah, but the point being, we've spent time, and we'll sit down and I say, yeah, that's just not my lifestyle.
Yep.
I would do it this way.
Yep.
Him and I don't see face to face here.
Yep.
We disagree here, but we get along.
Yeah.
We have a respectful conversation every single time.
Absolutely.
But why do you think some of the conservatives who are net positive to society, why do you think they have a problem with you?
Oh, I know that a lot of people have problems with me, and I completely understand why.
Specific to conservatives, though.
Well, the conservatives that have a problem with me see me as extreme, and they see me as degrading to the society, not understanding that in every single contingent and every single battalion, you need to have people who do different roles and do different things. I may be extreme, right? I may be seen as a rebel or an outlaw, or I may have extreme views or do extreme things. But I am extremely important in the battle against liberalism and the insanity and the communism of the world today. I may do a different job. Yeah, a sniper does something different than an assault troop, but we're all necessary. So they think that I'm not on their side because I don't live the same as them. But let's be honest, and I want to state this without arrogance. None of these people who were sitting at home, white picket fence, perfect upbringing, never had any of the terrible life I had, because I had a very hard life, never had any of the struggle I had, never had any of these things, who were criticizing me for my views and things I've done. None of those people moved the needle like I did. I was a cultural force. And I was a cultural force for the good guys. I'm not saying I'm a perfect person, but soldiers are not perfect. Warriors are not perfect. The special forces operators, every single Navy SEAL you can find has put a bullet in a kid's head, but he's doing it for his country. You can't be a good warrior if you're a perfect person. If I had no bad history, never swore, didn't know any women, and I sat at home and a white picket fence and I was completely legit and I'd done everything by the book, I wouldn't have the impact I have. The reason I can speak the way I speak is because I understand the struggles of young men, because I grew up in the poorest possible socioeconomic area in the UK. My finger came off, I was stabbed. I made money an illegitimate way. I managed to clean myself up, get up out the ghetto, clean things up, teach men how to be strong, how to be resilient. I have a life story. So these people see me as their enemy for some reason, not understanding that all of those elements that they don't like are the reason I am the force I am. If I had a perfect, easy little life, I've had it all the time from these conservatives. They're a pastor and they live in Nebraska and they married their first love and they have a white picket fence and they go to church every Sunday. Great. Good for you. Guess what? Most men in the world don't care what you say because there's no light without dark. And I have enough dark to bring the light. So you have to stop seeing me as your enemy because I don't live the same life you do. That's the reason I have the impact I have. I'm not going to apologize for being me. I'm not going to apologize for the circumstances I was born in either. I'm not going to apologize. It's truly crazy. They say, oh, Andrew said this on video. He should go to jail. Didn't 50 Cent sing that he was a pimp? Why is he not in jail? There's a video of 50 Cent on YouTube saying he's a PIMP. Is he locked up? No. Videos aren't real, right? So none of this stuff is real. It's just YouTube garbage. And they take it and they pretend that I'm the one degrading society, not the warmongers who are sending us into endless wars, not the drug dealers who are pushing drugs, not the liberals who are trying to chop your balls off. No, it's me. I'm the bad guy. Kissinger, he's Kissinger, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Henry Kissinger, yeah.
He said a whole bunch of negative shit about me. Wasn't he pro-Iraq war? Wasn't he pro-war, Kissinger? I don't know the exact schematics of it, but there are literal warmongers. There are literal warmongers who are begging for people to be blown to pieces, then tweeting that I'm the bad guy. How the fuck does that make sense? So these conservatives need to really, truly identify who their enemy is, and it's not me. The reason they hate me so fervently, the reason they dislike me, is because I get the attention they wish they got.
What did
because
Kissinger say about you?
Oh, something like I'm bad and I shouldn't. Something.
Kissinger's dead.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I got the wrong name.
Adam Kissinger or the old Kissinger?
I don't know.
This is Adam Kinzinger.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no,
Henry
Kissinger is dead. No,
Who's
I want to make sure we.
I don't know who
Kissinger
these
was
people
a
are.
very
Henry
heavyweight
Kissinger
guy.
was a
Well, he died in
former-
23.
Which, by the way,
Secretary.
you're right.
Yeah.
Kissinger was a
big
guy
time.
that caused war a lot.
Oh.
But you may be talking about Adam Kinzinger.
Is he pro-war?
Adam
Yeah,
Kinzinger is not going to be a fan of yours.
No, for sure
Okay,
not.
so let's be professionals. Can everyone stop being emotional and calm down? Let's be professionals. People, no.
We're the ones being emotional, Andrew.
No. To the conservative audience, the people who allowed you to be locked in your houses and lose your business and are sending your tax money abroad to fund endless wars and have murdered millions of people around the globe are saying, I'm the bad guy. The people who are on Epstein's Island, who own the media outlets, are saying, I'm the bad guy. And you're not mad at them. You're mad at me? Are you a moron? Like, are you stupid now at this point? This has been going on for 4 years with federal agencies from the USA, the UK, and Romania trying to pin me down, and they can't. Is that not proof of evidence? Is that not evidence of innocence? What more could you possibly ask? You take any one of these governors, senators, media outlet people, any of them, put them under the same scrutiny I've been under, and they'll all be locked up. Every single one, for corruption, for racketeering, for influencing, all of them. But me, I seem to walk every single case. And then the conservatives are getting psyoped into believing that I'm degrading society. Me, not the media, not the fake news, not the transsexuals, not the drag queen story hours, not chopping your balls off, not sending our young men away to die in a ditch. No, me. Because what? I made a joke saying women can't drive?
Well, there seems
can't.
There seems to be a common thread with the conservatives, by the way. And it's, you kind of alluded to it, but the pastor in Nebraska as an example. They're marrying their high school sweetheart, one woman, have sex with one woman, that's who you marry. Where you're viewed as a womanizer, and you proudly said this.
I wish.
But yet Elon Musk gets a pass.
Well, no, but this is the thing. I did a long 30-minute video on this exact subject, but I want to talk about this. In fact, let me put my sunglasses back on. And
by the way,
I want to look
that's your
cool.
camera.
Let me look cool.
Damn.
I wish I could meet one woman in high school and fall in love with her. I wish I could. That sounds like a blessing, and I support them absolutely. But I didn't. I grew up a different way, and I didn't. And truthfully, I have a different worldview. Now, we can go down this whole conversation. Perhaps we should. But I did a long 30-minute video on Elon and his recent baby drama. And I was explaining that all the people who are insulting Elon don't seem to understand that at his economic bracket and at his capability and at his mental, with his challenges that he's facing, I don't know the guy personally, but I would argue that his primary interests are rockets in space and Tesla. He's probably not that interested in sitting around with girls and having date nights. He wants to do rockets and Tesla. So what does he need from females? Children. So that's what he does. Does he pay for them? Does he take care of them? Are they safe? Does he love them? Yes, but he has other concerns. This is the business of kings. That's what kings do. Progeny, sons, heirs, cool. Back to work. I understand Elon, absolutely. Trump does the same thing. He has 3 or 4 baby mothers. I don't know. This is the business of kings. If you have the financial capability to take care of 5 or 6 different women and they're all happy to birth your progeny, then you're going to have a whole bunch of children. This once again comes down to jealousy. The pastor in Nebraska is jealous of me because I will always have more kids than him because I can bake more bread because I have more ovens. You can be mad. You can hate me for it. You can say I'm the bad guy. But my children are paid for. They're safe. Their women are paid for. Nobody's unhappy. Everybody's happy. That's the scenario that we're all in. It's my life decision. It's their life decision. And it's nothing to do with you. I don't criticize you making your decision, so don't criticize me making mine. That's the bottom line of it. But they're jealous I have more influence than them. I understand. But to sit there and pretend that it's a threat to society that I have a whole bunch of rich women living in mansions, having children that we're all happy, is garbage. There's much larger threats to society than that.
Just to specify, because if you're going to say this pastor from Nebraska, let's give him some love. Do you remember his name or no?
No.
His name is Pastor Shane Eidelman. I think that's the guy.
I literally, you know what's funny? Maybe it was subconscious. Maybe I scrolled past it.
Is this the guy? Is this him?
You know what? Maybe it was subconscious and I scrolled past it because I made up pastor from Nebraska off the top of my head. So if there is one who hates me, if there is one who hates me, it proves that I have a pretty good feel on the demographic who hates me, because I'm sure there is a pastor in Nebraska who's saying, Andrew Tate's the devil.
Well, if it's not him, he just got a shout out.
Bro, I mean,
it's true.
God bless, Pastor.
Guys, Elon's in the business of kings. He's trying to have progeny. My security team in 21 years from now will be my 10 sons. That will be my security team. I will make 10 sons, and they will be my security team. I have an objective to complete. Now, if a woman comes to me and says, Andrew, I'm better than the rest, I can grow a baby in a week, I'll say, all right, then, I'll be loyal to you. Done. There you go. If it takes 9 months to grow a baby, that's a skill issue. It's not my problem. I got work to do. So that's it. I'm very honest and open about this. Anyone who wants to attack me for it, that's their prerogative. But I'm not the enemy of civilization in the West. In fact, I would argue I was a large weapon in saving the West, in getting Trump elected, in waking men up, in fighting against the insanity. I would argue I've been on the good team for a very long time, and I have suffered for that. If any of these little pastors or any of these little conservative accounts had any actual influence over the needle or over society, they'd be in jail, or they would have caught a case. They didn't. Trump caught a case because he mattered. I caught a case because I mattered. J6ers got cases. That's what they do. Governments, the Matrix, when they're mad, they give you a case. If you're sitting there with your Twitter account going, I'm a conservative and I've been preaching conservative values for years, and I don't know why the boys like Andrew Tate and not me, because I go on long Sunday walks, and why don't they look up to me? I wish I was famous. You didn't catch a case because nobody gives a fuck what you say. Your ability to speak freely is directly correlated to your insignificance. If you are important and people listen, you cannot speak freely. Even now, there's a whole bunch of things I want to say that I cannot say. So I was attacked for my capability in the war against these people. That's what I was attacked for. And anybody who hates me, who hasn't caught a case, with respect, you don't matter. Even our enemy don't think you matter. You can be mad at me all you want. Think about this. We're all charging guns. We're all charging at the machine guns, and every single enemy machine gunner is saying, look at that guy, that's Tate, shoot him. If he gets to our trench, we're fucked. Shoot him. Don't shoot him. Let him run. He can get here. Nothing will happen. They don't have no power. They have no influence. They have no capability. So they're mad at me, and they try to pretend I'm the bad guy. I'm not your bad. I'm not the bad guy. I just beat you.
Tate,
just better than you.
You say that having children is the business of kings, right?
Correct.
So I don't know how many you have. Elon's at 14. I don't know if you're trying to compete with him. Pat has 4. And he's very loudly and proudly said he'd have 20 if he could.
Yep.
What I want to understand is the role of a father. We see basically the decline in civilization right now, especially in America, about the lack of fathers in homes. We talked about the African-American community. How often should a father be with their child? And I'd love to get PBD's opinion on this, because it would seem to me he's way more hands-on with his children than you. So how do you grapple with that?
Interesting question. And I would say that instead of just talking about fatherhood, let's talk about masculinity in men as a whole, because depending how competent you are as a man depends how potent you are with your time. So before I apply this to fatherhood, I'm going to apply it to something else. If you are a man who works in Starbucks and you're not that interesting and you're not that successful, for you to have a woman to be loyal to you, you need to be next to her all day, every day. You need to hold her hand, and you need to be with her every night. And you have to come home every day, and you have to talk to her all the time and text her all the time, etc. If you're one of the most famous, important, rich men in the world, you can talk to a girl an hour a day or 20 minutes a day, and you can see her once a month, and she'll be loyal to you. Why? Because of the potency of the man, the capability of the man. It's like most things, right? You need less potent alcohol than you do need a whole bunch of weak alcohol. And I would argue it's the same with fatherhood. I think the best fathers are so busy getting things done that, yes, they see their children. And I see my children all of the time. I see a different child every single day. So I'm with my kids 2 or 3 times a week, all of them. But I'm so busy getting things done that I can't be with them all the time. It's true. I argue that would be offset by the fact that I am who I am. If I meet an average person on the street, can't see his children for a few hours and make a massive impact on them, you think his children aren't going to grow up and know that his dad is the first person to colonize Mars and be proud of his last name? Of course they will. Of course. If you want to be a couch potato and sit at home and have no stories to tell and no capabilities and think that makes you a better father, well, then you're just an idiot. And you're not even raising your kids, because YouTube's raising your kids or the school's raising your kids. You're sitting there jerking off to porn and watching fucking sports with Dave fucking, what's his name?
Portnoy.
Dumbass. Dave Dumbass. You're jerking off over porn. So these people aren't better fathers than me. That's an attack vector they're going to use against me. Of course. I'm not saying I don't see my children. I'm saying they don't matter. I'm saying that I believe with my financial capability and with my achievements, I can have a whole bunch of children. I can put them all on private jets in and out and see all 10 in a day if I need to. And I believe I have a large enough impact on them. My children listen to me and spend there. Look at a CEO. A CEO can spend an hour a week in a business. He's the CEO. Mm-hmm. It's different than if you're a normal guy. You got to be there all the time. I believe that potency as an individual allows you to speed run things. You could speed run fatherhood. You can speed run being a boss. These CEOs who have 20 companies and they just turn up once a month because he's the boss. It matters when he's there. And it's the same with me being a father.
PBD, is this something you agree with right here? Because you spend a lot of time with your family. I mean, you spend
which is a
lot
good
of
thing. By the way, that's a fantastic thing. And there's nothing that makes me happier than being with my family and my children. I just have a bunch of them.
Yeah, but let me tell you on what he's saying. A part of it for me, I wrote 4 things down. Two of them, phenomenal actor. I don't think anybody